All right. Hey, everyone. And we're still here in Orlando, Florida, down at the IACIS training event for 2023. My name is Kevin DeLong, and this is Mario. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. And welcome to the show number one. So he has said, he told me before, I've never gone live before. I've never done a live event.
Never.
He can no longer say that now because right now, even the first 5 seconds are live. It's over. Absolutely. So again, thanks for hanging out with us. I know I took you away from class to come down here and talk. And you've been teaching for both weeks, right? Because this is a 2-week course.
A little bit, just a little bit more last year,
Yeah.
but I have a great staff this year that's been kind of taking the reins.
I
So,
see how it is now.
man, they've got so much experience. I can't take away from that.
Right. No, I got you. I got you. So tell the people a little bit about you. How'd you, so first of all, what is it that you do?
Okay. Well, I do a little bit of everything, as we talked about.
Right.
I am the IACIS mobile device forensic chair, and I've been in that position for at least the past 2.5 years.
Mm.
And it's been a great experience. My full-time job, I work for Farmer Brothers Coffee Company in information security and cyber.
That's awesome.
So it's been a big change.
You said coffee, right? Is
Yep,
that what you
coffee.
said? Oh, we gotta talk after the
Yeah.
show. That's awesome.
I can get you. It's good stuff.
We gotta talk about.
But I had 16 years law enforcement experience. That's where I got my start in digital forensics.
Wow. All right.
And also do some cases on the side in the private sector, and still keep my my reserve license with Willow Park PD in Texas. So to all my friends and family back in Texas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You got to keep it. I've still kept mine. I've been gone for. Well, I left in 2012. I still keep that.
It's it's a lot of work to get, and
It is.
very proud of it. So, and it also brought me into forensics. So I
Yeah.
can't, definitely don't want to put that off to the side. So.
Nope. Good deal. Absolutely good deal. So you probably have seen a lot over the years, different trends, different than the changes in mobile devices. Now, I'm going to date myself just a smidge here, but I mean, you're probably right up there. I'm looking at the salt and pepper.
Yeah,
and
it's coming in now. Between kids and the job.
That's exactly what happens. I didn't have gray hair till I had kids. It happens that way. I started with the old flip phones back when, and there's been a lot of changes in there. And it seems like the manufacturers are always trying to stop data from getting out of their device. And obviously, we need to get data out of the device.
It's definitely a fine balance because you want consumer privacy, and for law enforcement, we want all the data. We want to get the complete picture.
Right.
So it is kind of a cat and mouse game. And
Yeah.
we are definitely behind the ball when it comes to getting that data.
And it's, I mean, criminy. When I was doing it, there's things called SPF locks and things like that in Filesystems, which was nothing. You could bypass it really easily. But they were still there, and now you're dealing with full-on file system encryption, and all sorts of locks and mechanisms that stop you guys from pulling that stuff out. It's got to be challenging to keep up.
It is, and we kind of talk about this in class where it seems like it's the end of the world for law enforcement and getting data whenever there's some new change or some encryption scheme
Every
coming
week.
out, right? And then, we were all afraid with USB restricted mode. And we thought, okay, we're never going to get data, or we have to do this within an hour. And if we don't, then the case is gone, right? We have no evidence. But luckily, we have some fine experts out there at multiple companies, and they just knock it out of the park every time. They just kind of ease our fear and find us ways to get us the data that we need. Comes at a premium cost. But not all chiefs and sheriffs will
Right.
like those price tags, but in the grand scheme of things, the price, you can't put a price on finding the information you need to put someone away that absolutely needs to be, or just working for the victim, and that's really
Right.
what it's about.
That's
It's
what it
finding the
comes down
truth
to.
wherever that may lie.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And it's just, you see, and I guess some of the bigger things that have happened maybe in mobile forensics, you'd have that, I haven't done a mobile device since I left corporate. And I was really trained by a little company called MFI back in the day. And then Lee Reber ended up buying that company from
Okay.
Carl Dunnigan. So I know you've heard the name
Yep.
Lee Reber because you guys were
He
on
was on our expert panel yesterday.
Expert panel. That's
Yes,
right.
sir.
And he was a mentor of mine for, gosh, a long time. I worked for him. And then obviously Access Data from there. And I've been in the industry a minute. But you're probably seeing the biggest changes in the industry. Just I'd say maybe in the last 5 years. Would you correct me? Would
Yeah,
would
I
you
would
go a
definitely
different
say
one?
that because we've had those I guess data scares, right? Or not being able to get that information.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like the forensic tools only parse out what, maybe 1% of the apps or less of what is out there, and everything changes. So it is a constant curveball every year. And even when we teach our content here, it seems like we're updating the most up-to-date versions of these phones, and it changes. They can still use that information for a year or so, and maybe on some older cases, right?
Right.
But then we have to go back to the drawing board and see what everything has changed. So it's definitely a challenge, but a good one.
Yeah, and with just the development teams of say the big box forensic companies, right? That really have it together. They're pulling data left and right, but you're still going to get different data from this big box company as you are this other
Right.
one. Is that still the same way?
Yes. Yeah. Overall, I would say they're very good. All of them are very
Oh
good
yeah.
at getting that data and being on top of things. But I also think that equally those researchers and those that are hugely passionate about digital forensics, like our staff, like Alexis Brignoni and Geraldine Blay, they they are always looking at, for one, in their jobs, and second of all,
Right.
they're seeking something more. And
Mm.
we have, I mean, there's a bunch of DFIR blogs that are out there. A lot of people that are just coming out of the woodworks that are really doing some great work. And I also think it's key for their work and their contributions that have, in my opinion, have helped those big box forensics,
Mm-hmm.
that they see that and they tap into that, and there's some good collaboration. So
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have noticed that. A lot of people are willing to give back to this community. This is probably the. I keep hearing that weird old sound. What the heck is that?
I
Did
don't
you
know.
just hear
I
that
did
too?
hear that.
All right, I just want to make sure it wasn't in my headphones. I heard something. I'm like, it sounded like a dog whining almost. And there's a few running
There
around,
might
so
be.
it's very possible that there's some dogs making that noise. But man, I just completely lost. As soon as I heard that sound, it was gone. Whatever thought I had, it
We were
was
talking about
outta here.
I guess a lot of volunteers, right, in digital
Yeah,
forensic. How's that?
yeah. Thank you. Right back
Yeah.
on track where I need to be. Um, a lot of people are giving back to the community with writing
Yes.
blogs and writing these things. So it's man, keep if you're the ones out there doing that, keep right on doing that because that's
Absolutely.
amazing. You have no idea who it's going to help. And sometimes you think like, oh gosh, I've only been doing this a couple of years. Why would this even be important? But there's someone a couple of years behind you in the process, and it's always a growing process itself. So you should definitely keep up on those things. What are some of the biggest changes and stuff that you have noticed maybe in forensics in the past however many years you want to go back? I'm trying not to date you, man.
It's there's quite a bit. I mean, with every different version, right? You have Android wise,
Mhm.
they start enabling full disk encryption and so forth, and then you have big tools that are coming out that are able to break that or get into these locked devices.
Right.
And back in the day when Apple started, encrypting these, or as far as moving from 4 digit to 6 digit passcodes, that was a huge deal. And until companies like Gray Key and Cellbrite came in and figured out a way to get past those, it definitely helped. It definitely helped our cases, and it seems like I always tell people that even the information that you learn now, that you can go back to your old cases and apply that now, because like I said, we're behind the curve on this. So those new places that we're finding data now, or we discovered now,
Mm-hmm.
we can start going through, carving out locations and carving out old deleted information from these databases. And it's just opened up a whole new world on, or, just teaching them how to parse out mobile apps that are not automatically parsed out by the big box tools. So it's definitely it's definitely very beneficial to not only come to these type of trainings, but also ask your question on the listserv, ask your question out to the digital forensic community. The people that write blogs, they are very personable. They're very passionate about what they do. You can reach out to any of them, and they will respond to you.
Yep.
I mean, because they care, because they want to find what they can to help the greater good. That guy's in a hurry.
I heard that sound again too. So I'm not sure what's going on down there, but something.
The catering emergency.
Yeah, it is, right? We need a chocolate cake down here right now. Yeah, I had Alexis on the show. It's been a couple months ago, talking about some software that he's been tinkering with, I should say. It's growing
He's always
really
updating
fast.
something.
Yeah, it's like adding something new to it. It's pretty amazing. And people like that in the industry really know, and they're staying on the cutting edge of what's possible, what's not possible out there. And you brought up an interesting point, and I want to focus on it a little bit. It's a lot of it is with apps themselves.
Yes.
You mentioned something very key, like the tools don't pull all the apps. It's impossible.
They don't.
It's impossible unless they have like 1 million developers on a team, because you can't stay up with all of these updates. Just think of your own phones out there. How often an app updates itself. Criminy, it's every week. It seems like some of them, and they're changing something. If they change a database schema or something, then it throws off the whole.
They're always changing locations on where they store data, and even despite their best efforts, right, that they're parsing out this information, if you dig a little deeper into the actual database, you'll find a lot more, because what may be valuable and important to the forensic tool may not necessarily be the same important data that we're looking for,
right?
In our cases. So we have to piece together everything, and it's just putting together a digital crime scene and just developing that timeline, and those little pieces of artifacts that are hidden behind the scenes that aren't already parsed out could mean a conviction or not,
right,
or a victim not getting justice.
So what do you recommend then? Because we know there's no tool that's going to pull everything. And there's some that does a lot, and others that do certain things really well. I mean, it's just a mix of the quality, and all of them, I think, do a phenomenal job. What skill would you say a modern mobile device examiner absolutely should have when tackling file systems from a device?
I would say get used to how the data is saved. Get used to, and I say that in, conduct your own research, conduct your own validation, get a phone, put in the information that is exactly what you put in, document the times. I believe Josh Hickman sees phones exactly like this too. And
really,
he will tell you when he takes a picture, tell you when you deleted something or so forth, and document something like that, and do it over a course of a couple of days. You don't have to do a whole thing over for a month or so, but just do it a couple of days of known data, and go back in your tool, get a full file system. And if you can't afford the big box companies to do a full file system for you, get you an iPhone or something that you can run Checkmate on, and that you can do that with the regular products that we have, and pull that full file system like on an iOS, and go back and find every bit of information that you put in there. That's how we did. That's how we see the changes with SMS messages. That's how we see the changes with AirTag information that is being saved. Right. And so it's very important, and it's very important for the examiner to be able to see that data, that same data, and see it in multiple locations. So it's to me, it's very important, and also it helps in validating your casework that you're working on later.
Yeah, Rob's over there.
Hey, Rob.
I think we should make faces at him over there. Right? There's people in the background taking pictures of us. It's Rob. It's just Rob. Very cool. So I guess the skill that really someone should have is you got to get down into the weeds with some of this stuff, and you got to know, unfortunately, in some cases, some hex to binary type stuff, because there's some switches in there like that. and definitely, I'm going to try to guess some of these. Correct me if I'm wrong here at any time, Mario, because it's been a long time since I did a mobile device. So are they still using SQL?
They are still
pretty
using
heavy.
SQLite.
Okay, good.
Yep.
So
They're using protobufs, and
yeah,
they're using BP list within SQLite.
BP
I mean,
list still. I know those. Right
yeah.
on. All right.
So there's a lot of in-depth stuff, and that's what we try to tell our examiners, our students, and even people we work with or people that we come across that want to get into this or have only been doing it for a short period of time. You know, don't shy away from those things. Go do some bite sweeps. Go look around. Go dig into the SQLite databases. Try to do some research, or seek those answers and talk to the experts that will explain that to you. Because again, it all comes down to the passion for the work. And to me, that just keeps this industry going. It keeps it growing. And I mean, there's a lot of good information out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a ton of free resources. If you search for like how to break down a P list, it's out there somewhere. Someone has shown you, hey, this value here is where this value is. It's there. You just got to go Google it.
And you can easily Google it. Or ChatGPT.
There you go. Right?
Yeah. ChatGPT has a lot of work to do on mobile forensics, by the way.
Yeah. Hey, it did create the title for this, though.
Oh, well, thank you.
We were kind of tinkering around coming up with a title, and it's like, yeah, that one sounds good. Then there's this little button on this tool that I use, which is Ecamm, and we literally pushed it, and it's like, oh, that's a much better title.
That sounds a lot better.
It actually came up with a better title in mobile
reads
forensics.
Our minds, maybe.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. So we used it. So it did help there. But yeah, case-wise, yeah, maybe not so much.
Yeah. Those are the secrets that we have in our case reports.
For now. Hopefully the examiner will never be replaced by AI. No, I don't think that's
I have no doubt it'll help us out. And it's evolving, and it's been a great resource, especially on the cyber side. But yeah, it is. You can never take away the human element. Ever.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree with that. So down in the weeds, a lot of SQLite. Get to know that, because that's another resource they could easily look up. There's
protobufs.
Protobufs. See, that's when you're throwing me on. I'm going like,
there's Alexis has awesome information.
Really?
On that. Yeah.
All right.
Python. He will push Python, and I absolutely see why. That is a skill that even I need to fine tune on and learn. And I would definitely say that it's very valuable to anyone in digital forensics or IR.
Yeah, we might be coming out with a Python course here, and we'll keep it up. Probably free.
That would be awesome.
We're trying our best to get someone to donate some time for that, but if you're like, what, free? No,
yeah. Everyone loves free.
Yeah,
especially the bosses,
right? Yeah, exactly. With if law enforcement in general, you say the word free, they're in.
Yes.
Like, what are we doing? It's free.
Exactly.
I'm in. Right. So I also heard a rumor, because you told me, about the possibility of an advanced
course. That might be true.
Yeah.
We are discussing it.
All right.
We've since I've been over mobile, we've gone from somewhere around high 20s, low 30s of numbers of students per week in mobile, and we're now up to 48, 50.
Really?
And, yeah.
Holy
every week.
Yes. Yeah, no kidding.
Yep. Each week.
And how long have you been over the?
This has been 2.5 years, and we're almost a third of BCFE, which is our bread and butter here. But you ask anybody, mobile device forensics is almost taking over everybody's lab, and they're just running out of time to run this. And I hate to say it, but there's a lot of examiners that tend to go with push button forensics, right? And we just got to get out of that mindset. We got to make them more proficient and make them more confident.
Yep.
To get in the weeds.
I don't mind. No, this is my own personal take. It's not the view of IACIS or I think push button has a place,
right? But
you got to be able to validate it as well.
Yeah,
if you can
absolutely,
say
and
it,
then and getting that information and getting the low hanging fruit that may be on a phone for whether or not you need to look further. I think that's important, but anytime you have data, you got to look deeper. You got to look beyond it. So
I'm chatting. IACIS is he's over there saying this is a great podcast going on right now. And I said, yeah, because we're so good looking. Sorry, looking back at Waz over there.
Like, I need to be in
that. Come and just photobomb us back here. I'm going to watch him drop a laptop. That's pretty amazing feat what he's doing over there. He can't even hear us. So,
yeah.
So what else should we talk about? What's the latest trend or another trend that you may have seen in mobile forensics that maybe people our listeners aren't aware of?
I would just say bringing up protobufs, bringing up level DBs and so forth. And they're just these changes in how data is stored behind the scenes. And that's more information that we can talk about here. But I can say, there's a lot of good training out there.
Yeah.
And IACIS, we're recognizing that as well. Other vendors are recognizing it. Our expert panel have recognized it. So even though to the user and to, maybe a new examiner, nothing looks different.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to pay attention to what is behind the scenes, not just what you see. You have to go a little bit deeper. And I say that's like a theme, but they have to get more acclimated with these file systems and how that data has changed. And going back, do your own research, do your own testing, do your own validating. And that's very important.
Have you seen, and again, I don't want to keep you too long because I know you're
fine.
Okay, so we're not too bad there. I with the cloud especially,
Mm-hmm.
right? The majority of data. Have you seen an increased, which everybody has? It's kind of an open question.
It is everywhere, with mobile. And I think in the very beginning, law enforcement had shied away from it. They didn't want to log in anyone's account. They didn't want to pull that information. And I think just like anything new, we're afraid of because we don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And so as it evolves and we start seeing the value in that information, I know Lee Reber talked about it a lot and how he feels is very important to an investigation. And
Mm-hmm.
it is. It absolutely is. Because we have additional information. The more data, the better. And we can validate that information against what's in the phone. We can validate that to information we find out in an interview with a suspect. So it is very important. And it's come a long way. And even I heard that sound.
I don't know where it's coming from. I don't hear it when just sitting here. I only hear it when we're sitting with headphones on. It's like, what is going on?
But now I forgot what I was talking about.
We were talking about cloud.
Okay. But yeah, it is. It's great for validation purposes as well.
Yeah. Now, do you think that eventually we're going to get locked out of it? I started in mobile forensics back in 2005-ish.
Mm-hmm.
So this has been going on every few months. It seems like we're going to get locked out of the handset. Now we're in 2023, and do you still see that, hey, we could get locked out? And where would that data be? Is it going to be more of a shift to you just got to get data from a provider in the cloud somewhere and an app provider, and we're going 1,000 different places depending on how many different apps?
Maybe in some aspects, but at the same time, and the phone still touches it. It's still there. Something documents it,
right?
Or there may be snapshots that are taken, when you're flipping between screens.
That's true.
So that's still information that's there, but I don't think we'll ever be completely locked out. I think we hear that.
Jinx.
God. Erase this part if something ever happens. I hope. But yeah, it's just we seem to live in a bubble or a fear constantly of something's going to change. And like I said, this is going to be the end of the world. And someone researches and finds a way to fix our problem. So I'm confident that somewhere in there, whether it's legislation or research or both, that there's some fine balance that we can have between getting the necessary data, but also protecting people's privacy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like that take on it. It's a very good take. Man, I tell you what, this has been insightful, and so we've learned that you need to get down into the weeds
Absolutely.
with some classes. You need to take IACIS course.
Yeah, you absolutely should.
And maybe if there's an advanced course someday, you should probably take that
Yeah.
one too.
We will definitely get in the weeds on that.
Yeah. But what it comes down to is just learn the basic, way that the systems are storing the data and how to interpret that data. And it's really similar, I mean, almost the same between this is the weirdest sound ever, and why does it keep doing it? I've been doing these for like 2 days, and I've
interested to
never
see if
heard
it
of it.
shows up when they record.
I bet you if it doesn't, that people are going to think we're just nuts, right? but learn those things, and and be curious. I think is
Absolutely.
a big piece of it.
Absolutely. Be curious, be passionate, and I mean, do your thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that are willing to help,
Mm.
and you'd be surprised with the questions that come out on the listserv. And just there's a lot of people that are willing to help. If they don't know, they'll try to find out, and that's just an extra resource for you. That's an extra resource for the community. And I find myself in positions to able to help other people as well. And new people can help people that have been in this business for a long time. It doesn't just come with experience and years down. Everybody can help everybody. So just get into it.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, if you want some information on the training, IACIS.com, you'll see it right there on the front page. Navigate to it. Boom. Now you're a little late because it's going on right now. And the next class is like a full year away, or do you guys have mini classes in between?
It is. I believe you can put in requests if you have classes that you want to do throughout the year, and we try to see if we can get instructors to accommodate that. But it might be worth looking into. And but yeah, it is absolutely at least 2 weeks a year here in Orlando. And
it's not a bad place to be.
It's not bad at all,
considering
minus those storms last week.
Yeah, considering Disney's like what, a couple miles that way, if that. Which way am I? No, that way.
That way.
Yeah, there we go. And then Universal is just up the road as well, because that's where we're staying at. We're with my kids were doing the whole Harry Potter and trying to turn me into all kinds of crap with these wands. That
the interactive ones.
Yeah.
I got some of those for my kids.
Yeah, that I could have went on the backyard and whittled a stick, and it had been
put a sensor in it. Here, we're good.
It's probably just an IR light or something.
Probably is.
Anyway. Man, thanks so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. It's been
fun.
We'll have to have you on another show, like a full-blown show where you got more time.
Let's do it.
All right, sounds good, man.
Cool. Thanks very much.
Take care. Don't go anywhere because I got to go find the button to shut this thing off.
All right.
And for everyone else, this is, I think, the last broadcast. Yeah, this is the last broadcast for us. We're out of here tonight. Friday, we're going to be doing a show. Don't know, have any idea what the topic's going to be yet. Is there going to be a guest? Probably not this Friday, just because we've been doing these one after the other. But again, we're down here at the IACIS training in Orlando, Florida. If you haven't checked it out, go to IACIS.com and make sure you do. Next year's event, hey, it's wide open for you. I'm sure there's not a wait list yet. Maybe. You never know. So go and check it out. Again, thanks, man. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.